Grand Rising. Happy Monday. I pray everybody's having a positive, productive start to your day today. If not, I pray your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course the Most High help you with that today. I also pray that He clothes us in His armor from head to toe, that He strengthens our discernment and guides our steps as we go throughout this day. I know it's been a while. It's been 2 weeks actually since I've done a video. I was a little under the weather, dealing with my energy that I needed to clear out. So thank you for being here. I hope everybody's doing well. We're going to start out with a morning mantra, and then we'll get into the rest of the cards. I do have the door open and the dogs are up moving around, so please excuse any distractions in advance. Starting to warm up in my area. It's been very hot and very humid, but that's typical for this time of year. I hear the drama, I see the drama, I fire up my jetpack and blast away from the drama. So ignoring drama, you know, being aware of your own energy, making sure you're not the person starting the drama. Just on a little side note, on the last video I did, I talked about how I was going to work on opening the communication lines. They ended up having to put in like a technical support ticket to try to find out what's going on with my server line. So hopefully that won't contribute to the drama. We're going to get a grief affirmation card. It's okay to be angry at having to grieve. 222 on the timer as I looked. I have been seeing a lot of twos lately. 1221, 1222, 222. Steering clear of the drama, making sure we're not the ones causing the drama. Sometimes that can be difficult. You know, if we have a lot going on in our lives, sometimes it can feel like the drama is just never ending, you know? So trying to keep a positive frame of mind, clearing out the negative energy, clearing out that old energy, people, places, things that no longer serve us. We're going to get a chakra affirmation, and then we'll get a chakra wisdom card for the day. Hello there. Happy Monday. It might take me a little while to get back into the groove. I really didn't plan on going 2 weeks without a video. Throat chakra, 5th chakra, expressing my feelings. Throat chakra is associated with the color blue, the lotus of 16 petals. I allow my emotions to be fully experienced. I acknowledge feelings of grief, anger, and fear, and I make a conscious effort to express my emotions or resolve them within myself so that I can move forward freely. Very much lining up with our grief affirmation. Hello, hi, happy Monday. I let the unconditional love experienced in my heart be expressed through my voice and creativity. Let those close to me know how much I love and care for them. I forgive all those who have done me wrong in the past, as well as forgiving myself, as I could have not responded in a more evolved way than I was able to at the time. How did I go live? You have to get a certain number of subscribers to be able to go live. I think you have to have 50 subscribers to be able to go live. I just use my phone. I'm not exactly sure if you want me to elaborate more on that, but all right. So, you know, expressing ourselves clearly, no matter what emotions you're dealing with, even if you can't freely express those emotions to other people, being honest with yourself about the emotions that you're dealing with, you know, that's something that I, over the last 2 weeks, had to deal with myself. I very much got in kind of like a dark down kind of energy. And sometimes when we feel that way, going back to our morning mantra, you very much have to pull away from other people's energy, pull away from the drama so that you can focus on helping yourself feel better. I do have 53 subscribers, but it won't let me. Sometimes it takes a couple days for it to go through the system. I know when I first hit it, I want to say it took like 3 days after I hit the number of subscribers before I was actually able to go live. I guess they just have, you know, because sometimes people will subscribe and then they'll unsubscribe and for whatever reasons. And so just be patient, keep trying. Maybe it's 100 for you. No, it's 50 subscribers. Abundance Yellow is the Chakra Wisdom card that we got for today. Yeah, just give it a little bit of time. Just keep trying. All right, so we got Abundance, which is yellow, which is associated with the third chakra, the solar plexus. That's in your belly area. It's where a lot of our creativity energy comes from. All right, Abundance, gold coins. I only seek to give you what you ask for. Going back to scripture, we have not because we ask not. The legend, inside a magical treasure chest, gold coins swap stories. One coin tells how a man foolishly dropped her down a drain, then cried instead of trying to get her out. Later, an enterprising little girl used string and chewing gum to fish her out. The coins remember how this girl saved them, along with many others, and eventually bought a house. As all coins desire to be well spent, they agree that she was indeed a wise person. The inspiration, think about your relationship with money. Are you the wise girl or the foolhardy man? Money is naturally attracted towards appreciation and gratitude. Personal inquiry. Be wary of using your financial situation as an excuse to avoid doing something. Are your thoughts and actions around money empowering or disempowering you? Key ideas: abundance through gratitude, releasing regret, being good with money. Keywords: friendship, wisdom, and windfall. You know, that really goes back to the energy that I was talking about earlier. Just kind of that down energy. If you're in that place, don't let your current situation dictate where your life goes from here. Hold on, let me see if I can get the dogs in. Darling, come here right now. Come here. Come on. Come on. Darling, come here. All right, go on. Go sit down. She had snuck out of the fence. Okay. All right, so getting back to what we were talking about with the abundance, the finances, I got a big old scratch on my arm. I must have scratched it on the fence. Okay, so expressing your feelings, not only with yourself, but the people around you. You know, I'm guilty of it, and I think a lot of other people are too. You know, we get in a certain frame of mind, whether it's a depressed state of mind, an angry state of mind, whatever it is for you. And a lot of times we let those emotions make our decisions for us, or we let those emotions keep us in a stuck place. And I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've done it a lot in my life. I still struggle with it a lot. 11:22 on the timer when I looked. It's very easy to let our emotions kind of give us a excuse to not do better, or an excuse to stay in the situation that we're in, no matter what situation that is, whether it's a financial situation, you know, struggling with finances, or whether it's, you know, depression that you're struggling with. You know, depression can be very debilitating. I know a lot of people struggle with it. I don't medicate. I haven't medicated for a long time. But, you know, if that works for you, that works for you. But for me, the best way is to express those feelings. Be honest with yourself about what you're feeling and about why you're feeling that way. It can be hard to do, especially if you don't have supportive, understanding people around you. If it's a struggle that you're fighting on your own, it can be very difficult. If you're dealing with grief of any kind, you know, grief isn't something that, like, you just go through it and it's over and done with and it never comes up again. Grief is something that we all deal with from different situations, different things that cause that grief, whether it's loss of a job, loss of a loved one, you know, even just like losing a friendship, that's too many. We're pulling from the Wild Offering Oracle. You know, sometimes, going back to our morning mantra about the drama, sometimes we have to pull ourselves out of a certain environment because of drama, because of the way it's affecting our emotions. And that can be really hard too, especially if it's people that you care about, or, you know, something that you've put a lot of time and energy into. It can make it that much more difficult to pull away from it. All right, we got self-acceptance. Nothing is more exhausting than endlessly working on yourself. When you offer your whole being fully to love, self-acceptance arises spontaneously. May I rest in our oneness, dear divine. So, staying on the track of expressing your feelings, being honest with yourself about how you look at yourself, knowing that you're worthy, loving yourself despite your flaws, you know, letting go of anger that you might hold towards yourself, forgiving yourself for different, you know, maybe different decisions that we make that put us in situations that, you know, a lot of times when we end up in situations that we aren't necessarily proud to be in, we try to blame that on other people, or, you know, we try to avoid taking accountability. And I'm not saying that other people don't necessarily play a role, but we have to accept our role as well. It's not easy, but it's important to be able to say, yeah, I made a bad decision. Yeah, I made the wrong call. You know, that's part of the journey in itself. And when you get to a point where you can take accountability for the role that you played, it helps you learn, where you made the mistakes so that you can do a better job at making decisions the next time. All right, we're going to get our educational moment for the day. We'll get a state card out. I think last time we got District of Columbia was the last one we got. Montana, the color red. The capital of Montana is Helena. Its state nickname is the Treasure State. It gained its statehood November 8th of 1889. The Montana state bird is the western meadowlark. The state flower is bitterroot. And the motto is gold and silver. Quick facts. Dinosaur eggs found at Egg Mountain support the theory that some dinosaurs cared for their young. The north entrance to Yellowstone National Park, the first national park in the United States, is in Montana. Natural wonders and fascinating wildlife bring thousands of people to the park each year. Yellowstone National Park is a beautiful park. I thankfully have had the pleasure of going there. The wildlife is just amazing. The moose, the wolves, the foxes, it's all beautiful there. So very up north, almost to Canada, on the very northern line of the United States. Montana is a beautiful state in general. Once again, encouraging us to appreciate nature, to see the value that nature holds. A lot of people, don't do that. Not only seeing the value in nature, but seeing our self-value. Knowing that just because you make a mistake, don't judge yourself based on your current situation. Don't let that affect how you view yourself. Yes, we make bad choices. Yes, we put our trust in the wrong people. A lot of times we forget to love ourselves, but if we really try to overcome that, it can be such a great learning experience. Not only learning about yourself, but learning about the world around us. All right, we're going to get an affirmation from the Affirmators deck. Self-help without the self-helpiness. Inspiration. There's one behind that as well. Don't take it personally. What inspires you? What makes you happy? What encourages you? There is a voice of inspiration within me. Right now, it's only a whisper, but the more I listen, the louder it will get. Soon, it will be a flawless speech, voiced by James Earl Jones, through a megaphone with lots of applause. So, seeking inspiration from yourself, finding inspiration in the world around us. Don't take it personally. If someone starts to speak unkindly to me, I'll remember that they've got something going on that has nothing to do with me. Maybe they just pooped their pants. Yes, that's probably it. I love the childlike humor that they use in these cards. So don't take it personal, like when somebody else is having a bad day and they take that day out on you. Don't let that energy, going back to our morning mantra, I hear the drama, I see the drama, I fire up my jetpack and blast away from the drama. So don't let other people's drama and negative energy affect your day, affect your life. being honest with yourself about how maybe your energy affects other people. Okay, I see what happened there. Those cards fell over. Forgiving yourself and others. You know, maybe other people did contribute to whatever situation you're dealing with right now. But looking at things from a different perspective, seeing it as a learning experience, or seeing it as not only a learning experience about other people, but a learning experience about yourself, how you deal with that when that situation occurs. See, use that as inspiration and encouragement to not let yourself be that way, to not let your energy, don't take your bad day out on somebody else. You wouldn't want 21:22 on the timer when I looked. You wouldn't want somebody else taking their bad day out on you. So don't take your bad day out on somebody else. Treat others how you want to be treated. The energy that we put out is the energy that comes back to us. It's okay to be angry at having to grieve. A lot of times we get angry at ourselves for either the emotions that we're feeling, or maybe lacking the ability or the opportunity to express those feelings. Reconciliation and infinite possibilities is what we got from the celestial insights. It may be time to reconcile with someone or something. Is there an unresolved issue weighing on you? Taking the first step toward peace will bring inner tranquility and strengthen your future relationships. So that goes back to what we've already talked about already. Maybe apologies need to be made. Maybe something needs to be set right. Maybe somebody took their bad day out on you. Maybe you took your bad day out on somebody else, and you need to make that right. And then we got infinite possibilities. God, that very much lines up with the abundance energy that we got in our chakra wisdom card. You are at the threshold of infinite possibilities. The universe is opening new paths for you. Break free from old limits and explore the unknown. The potential ahead is greater than you think. So break free from those limiting beliefs. A lot of times, I say it often, we are our own worst critic. A lot of times we hold ourselves back because we don't forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we've made in the past. We hold a lot of anger and resentment towards ourselves. So for me, and I know for a lot of other people, self-forgiveness is one of the hardest parts of the healing journey, because we feel like that we should have known better, we should have done better, we should have picked up on certain energies, or we should have seen something coming. But I talk about it often. When we don't know our own energy, we have a hard time knowing when other people's energy is affecting ours. So, expressing your feelings honestly and authentically to yourself, even if you can't do that with people around you. Of course, it's better if you can, but I accept and I understand, because I live it every day. Not all of us have family or friends that, we can go to express those emotions. So finding an outlet that helps you do that. All right, now we'll get an angel number. Infinite possibilities, reconciliation, abundance, self-acceptance, inspiration. Don't take it personally. I hear the drama. I see the drama. I fire up my jetpack and blast away from the drama. Loving yourself enough to walk away. We got number 6, balance. Then we got 938 on the bottom of the deck. Keep going. We've got 3, 4, 5 on the top of the deck, personal power. So personal power, balance, and keep going. We'll start, every life in general is about balance. Everything, it doesn't matter what area of your life you're reviewing, whether it's friendships, whether it's food, whether it's spending money, it's all about balance. It says peace, communication, support, reflection, harmony, and stability. If you're struggling with family or those you live with, this number serves as a reminder to seek peace, communication, and support. Reflect on your life and consider what balance truly means to you. In what areas of my life do I need to cultivate more balance and harmony? Take a moment today to have an open and honest conversation with a family member, a housemate, or yourself to restore peace and balance in your home. So that very much goes with what we were just talking about. What are some things that you've done or need to do to bring balance? Being honest with yourself about your feelings, finding inspiration through the little things in life. We talk about gratitude a lot. Having the attitude of gratitude makes it a lot easier to not take things personally, to understand where that energy, that drama is coming from. And then also looking at the self-acceptance, accepting yourself the way you are, understanding that you're loved and you're valued, but also loving yourself enough to know that there's always changes that can be made. All right, now we'll jump into the Angels of Abundance and Namaste, the Stress Less deck. We'll actually start with the Namaste deck. Keep going. Don't give up. Personal power. Have faith in yourself, even when nobody else does. Loving yourself enough to keep going. Even if you've spent the last 2 weeks in the bed, every day is a chance to try again. These cards are stuck in the box. There we go. Forgiving yourself for the mistakes you've made, forgiving yourself for, if you're in a situation right now where you feel like there's no way out, loving yourself enough to break yourself out of that thought, out of that mentality to where, even if all you do is get up and make your bed and, just live, love yourself enough to do that, to take those baby steps to pull yourself out of that funk. I know a lot of people, there's a lot of people that don't really struggle with that, but if you do, every day can be a challenge. Forgive yourself so that you can have a better day today. All right. Let's get a Namaste card from the Stress Less deck. Believing and knowing and having faith that abundance comes in all forms. Abundance isn't just material or financial things. Loving yourself through the grief, through the anger, accepting the role that you played in whatever situation you're dealing with right now. Doesn't make you any less of a person. Doesn't decrease your value. The power of touch. Touch is a primal desire, a desire for connection. Touch allows us to feel connected to others. The more you are able to physically touch people you love, the more you will feel connected to this world. Hold someone's hand, rub their back, put your arm around them, or hug them. This act of physical touch reminds us that we are not alone. If we cannot be physical in our touch, then of course we can use our words to gently touch others. Warm words and words of encouragement and allow us to touch other people with speech. Positive words help reduce stress, just like loving physical touch. So that very much goes back with our throat chakra, expressing my feelings. You know, if you've never been on the other side of it, it may be hard to understand, but sometimes just a kind word of encouragement, even a compliment, can turn somebody's day around, especially somebody that doesn't have a lot of that in their life. It really can make a big difference in their day, in their, mindset. Offering kind words not only helps the other person feel better, 31:13 on the timer when I looked, but surprisingly enough, it can help you feel better too. Just knowing that being nice to somebody can help me feel better encourages me even more to do that. All right, now we're going to get an Angel of Abundance card. That was quick. Release jealousy. It is safe for you to receive on the bottom of the deck. On the top of the deck, power of prayer. Prayer for yourself, prayer for other people. Give this situation to God for uplifting and healing, and be open to miracles. Heaven's unlimited resources, love, and answers are awaiting your prayers. Be sure to act upon the divine guidance God gives you in response to your prayers. So that kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the video. We have not because we ask not. A lot of people are not aware of the power of prayer. Even very much important for people that don't have someone in their environment that they can talk to. You can always talk to God, your angels, ancestors, spirit guides. They're always there wanting to hear from you, whether it's a spiritual prayer, a literal prayer. A lot of times for me, I'll just literally sit and meditate on my prayer. I won't actually even speak it out. All right, release jealousy. Jealousy is an affirmation that you don't have something, and the universe manifests exactly what you affirm. Let other people's successes inspire rather than frustrate you. If they have it, so can you. That very much lines up with our chakra wisdom abundance card. Knowing that abundance comes in all forms: love, energy, material, financial, spiritual. There's all different kinds of abundance. So when we forget to have gratitude, and we forget that, sometimes things don't happen in our timing, but that doesn't, it's not a no, it's just a not right now. If we carry the energy of jealousy, that's just going to slow down our process. Just like any other kind of energy, when you get caught up in it, whether it's depression, anxiety, a mindset of lack, it can hold us back because we get kind of sucked in to where it's difficult for us to have a positive mindset. And when you're constantly in a negative state of mind, it can hold you back in so many different ways. It is safe for you to receive. The more you allow yourself to receive, the more resources you have available to share with others. Open your arms to receive and be a conduit for good coming to you and through you as it blesses the world. So being a conduit, letting spirit work for you and through you to share and help others. Kind of going back to what we were already talking about, sharing that positive energy. Being happy for people that maybe have already succeeded in a journey that you're still working on. This isn't a competition. We all have our own path. We all have different things that we have to overcome. A lot of times, if we can release that jealousy, it allows us to connect with other people that may actually even be able to help on our journey, vice versa. I used to be one of those people that, I guess it's probably very typical, especially amongst women, but probably with men too. If I felt like somebody was out of my league per se, whether that's in relationship or friendship, I wouldn't even attempt to make a connection with those people, because I didn't feel worthy. It wasn't anything that they were doing wrong. It was the way I was viewing myself. And it very much cut me off from people, places, and environments that, may have benefited me in some way, but because I resented other people for things that I didn't have, it probably held me back a lot longer than it should have. It turned what could have been a learning experience into an experience of loss. Okay, now we'll get animal allies, and then we'll pull from the Wandering Heart Oracle. Three, 4, 5, 9, 3, 8, and the number 6. Balance, personal power, and keep going. Having the perseverance, the strength, the resilience to keep going. The angels are proud of you for your resilience and efforts. They are sending you strength and guiding you through challenges towards success and prosperity. In what areas of your life do you need to keep pushing forward? How can you remind yourself of your progress and stay motivated? So, being proud of yourself for the small milestones that you're overcoming, those little changes that we make, and that a lot of times we fail to stop and to look back and see what we've overcome. We're so focused on the destination that we fail to appreciate how far we've already come in that process. Being kind to yourself and sharing that kindness with the people around you. Eureka. Urraca. It's the first time we've gotten that. My arm is still bleeding. It's amazing how quickly it can happen. All right. Superpowers. Luck, love, charm, prosperity, making good choices, playfulness, resourcefulness, imagination, having swag, being vocal and witty. Wisdom. A fresh outlook, humor, and charm are welcome almost everywhere and draw attention in positive ways. Get creative with communication. Speak up and out. Join forces with others who share the same values. What Eureka wants you to know. You belong. Everywhere you find yourself is right where you are meant to be. If you long for closer community, you have the skills and resources to build it yourself. What do you want your corner of the world to look like? Go make it real. So, going back to the self acceptance, valuing who you are, see, and very much lining up with the inspiration card. You know, some of us are sent into people's lives to inspire others to find themselves. Seeking and building a closer community. Going back to the throat chakra, expressing your feelings. You know, if that's something that you're seeking in life, express it. I started that journey a long time ago. I've been working on building a strong community, which it's a slow go, but you know, sometimes in the beginning of that process, we have to learn about ourselves and heal ourselves in certain areas before we can help others do the same. You know, and sometimes it's just sharing the journey. All right, now we'll pull from the Wandering Heart Oracle. You know, looking back at the reconciliation card, sometimes the people that we need to reconcile with are ourselves. A lot of times, you know, when we're trying to fit in the world, when we're trying to feel like we're making a difference or feel like we're doing something important with our lives, we really lose sight of who we are. So kind of going with the self-acceptance and the reconciliation, maybe it's time to reconnect with who we are instead of following other people's direction. You know, taking the path less chosen. Staying away, steering clear of the drama. You know, seeking inspiration, not only so that it can help us, but then spreading that inspiration with others. That's been my hope and my journey for a long time. Healing myself, but sharing my journey with other people so that it can encourage them to do the same. Whether you're dealing with mental health issues, physical health issues, financial issues, family issues, you know, it can all drag us down. Learning how to deal with those, how to learning that it's safe to be your true authentic self. And not taking it personally if other people don't see that vision. This is way too many, but we'll acknowledge them. We got sacrifice, stillness, redemption, and reclaim your power. We're going to try for just one. Celebration, number 14. This is two women in the card. They look like they're going to a party or they're already at a party. All right, celebration. Wow, going back to what we already said, celebrate your milestones. No matter how little those milestones may seem. If we don't celebrate them, we forget how far we've come and we can hold ourselves back because of that, you know? All right. Achievement and emotional fulfillment. These are the moments that last forever. Friends and family surround you with cheer. Lovers do the most to show their compassion. There may be cake and balloons, but mostly there is laughter and physical touch. Wow, lining up with the Namaste card where it talked about the power of touch. You join hands with one another to send up prayers. You share hugs to give thanks. You cherish the love you have for those around you and vice versa. It's been a long time coming. The time to rejoice is now. Share your story with those who are eager to listen. You have the wisdom to inspire. So going back, that literally touches on everything that I just said. You know, for me, in my personal opinion, our journey is never over. But sharing the things that we've learned to not only encourage ourselves to keep going, but to inspire others that, you know, those obstacles can be overcome. You know, the releasing any kind of judgment, not just jealousy, but any kind of resentment or judgment that may not only be hurting other people, but hurting ourselves at the same time, holding us back from really making progress and moving forward. We got to keep going, and personal power in our angel numbers. You know, celebrating those little milestones, the infinite possibilities, knowing that, you know, no, it may not be playing out the way we planned it, but it's always going to play out for our highest good if we can look at the situation from a different perspective and see that it's all there to teach us something. Whether it's, you know, teaching us how to overcome something, whether it's teaching us how to step into a new area of our life, whether it's no matter what it's teaching us, there's always something to be learned from whatever the situation is. You know, it's going to be, it's different for everybody. Okay. Now we'll get animal spirit. I can definitely tell I'm not doing as much chit-chatting today. We're getting through the cards a lot quicker than normal. Unfortunately, it'll probably take me a little while to get back in the swing of things, just because for me, sitting in front of the camera is very awkward. So when I go a long time without doing it, it's like my energy's just off a little bit. But, you know, that being said, when I first started this channel, I didn't necessarily intend it for me just to be kind of sitting here talking to myself. I started it with hopes of building a community to kind of help each other. And, you know, it's still in the process, whatever. You know, I'll do what I can with what I've got. All right. Animal spirit. Oyster. There's actually a guy on YouTube that I saw a few times oh, look at that unicorn on the bottom of the deck. Sea serpent on the top of the deck. So 2 spirit cards and a water card. Anyways, but he videos himself getting the pearls out of oysters or clams, whatever. All right. We'll start with oyster because that's the one that came out. Oyster, patient, secret keeper, hiding inner treasures. So kind of going back to what we already talked about, even though it's not playing out in the time or the way that we think it is, that doesn't mean that it's not happening. There's a lot of times there's stuff going on in the background that we're not even aware of. All right. The focus and determination of the oyster is unmatched. Anything an oyster personality puts their mind to, they achieve with grace and charm. The only problem is oyster types often take their inner gifts for granted. They become shy or doubtful, and this can lead to withdrawing or protecting their deepest desires and life's work. What was I just talking about? When the oyster card appears, it's important to reveal your inner treasures. What is it you've been hesitant to share? The world is waiting to see. When in balance, feels blessed, generous, and masterful. When out of balance, reluctant, gripping, and clams up. To bring into balance, share something. So, kind of going back to what we've been talking about this whole time, sharing your ideas, sharing your energy, just sharing love with other people. All right, then we got sea serpent and unicorn. Sea serpent, healing emotional wounds and expressing desires. That very much lines up with our chakra affirmation, expressing feelings. The sea serpent represents the energy of expression, whether it's emotions, creativity, sexuality, or desire. The sea serpent helps us move and direct our energy into a healthy current. When the essence of this card is in balance, we express ourselves creatively and sexually without fear or shame. We know what we desire most. Our hearts are at ease and our relationships are meaningful and enduring. We loosen the grip of self-judgment and we let the cool waters of forgiveness in to heal our wounds. When the energy of sea serpent is not yet activated, our emotions and creativity are left in the muddy waters. The current of expression stagnates in the same areas of our lives, and in other places it floods. It's important to remember, no matter what, the waters of our emotional lives look like. The sea serpent loves us just the same. Like a mother, she wraps herself around us in a gesture of protection. She supports us as we learn to express our true natures. Very much lining up with the throat chakra affirmation, expressing feelings. Don't take it personally when other people take their bad day out on you. You know, learning how to fight the current. You know, I'm going to get my drink real quick. We have so much negativity around us in this world, you know, in the simplest of ways, that we, a lot of times, we take it personally. You know, we make it about us when it's not really about us. Don't take it personally, as our affirmation says. Oh. That lemonade hit strong right at that moment. My jaws are tingling. Okay. The sea serpent and the second chakra. The subtle energy of the sea serpent occupies the area of the second chakra, located deep within the pelvic bowl. The second chakra is your sacral chakra. This chakra is known as our center of creativity and desire and is associated with the water element. This chakra is the home of the divine mother or Kundalini herself. So kind of touching on the Kundalini, really lining up with the oyster card, which we already read, creativity. You know, we are surrounded by creativity. In my downtime, I spent a lot of time on YouTube, and there's so many talented people out there that they really do put their creativity out there for the world to see, and I really do admire those people. All right, unicorn, reconnecting to higher wisdom or divinity. It's difficult to see, hear, or think of a unicorn without immediately questioning if it's real. Did they ever, and if you didn't know this, they even speak of unicorns in biblical text. Like, I totally believe that at one point unicorns did exist and mankind just eliminated them. Okay, have you ever seen the movie The Last Unicorn? If you have not seen that movie, there's The Last Unicorn, that's an anime movie, but there's also a unicorn movie that's it's got Tom Cruise in it when he was really really young. Either one of those, go watch them if you've never watched them. But the one with Tom Cruise, I can't think of what it's called right now. But it has unicorn in the title. Okay, anyways. Perhaps long, long ago, the mind answers maybe, or it could be, or no way. This very contemplation explains our relationship with divinity and encapsulates our wavering belief in the unicorn. We wonder what divinity is. We wonder where our intuition comes from and if we can really trust it. We think about a higher power and our mind hesitates between yes, no, and maybe. Is it male or female? Does it have a name? Or is it just a feeling? The unicorn card appears and wakes us up to curiosity about the higher self and the divine. It is a card of questioning, exploring, and contemplating the inexplicable. The mind's eye knows there is something beyond our day-to-day lives, a deeper dimension to our experiences. The mind's eye reaches and reaches and reaches out to grasp something more. You are the unicorn and you have begun your quest for answers. The unicorn is associated with the sixth chakra. It's no surprise the subtle essence of the unicorn resides in the third eye, which is where on a unicorn the horn is in the third eye area. The exact place where the unicorn's horn extends. This center is called the command center. The ancient yogis believed it to be responsible for our intellect, intuition, and deepest wisdom. Some say our two eyes see the past and the present, while this third eye peers into the future. So all in all, putting, kind of collaborating all three of those cards together, embracing your creativity, embracing the wonders of this world, learning about your intuition. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier in the video. A lot of times we don't listen to ourselves because we don't take the time to learn our own voice. We're so distracted by the world around us, the people around us, all the negative and chaos and just things that are going on in the world. If you don't take the time to learn your own energy and to learn what your intuition feels like, sounds like, vice versa, it just makes it more difficult. In my personal opinion, it's a form of self-love to go through that process. And, sometimes that process involves us having to admit things about ourselves or accept things about ourselves that may not necessarily be easy. We all have flaws. None of us are perfect. We're not meant to be perfect. That's not, finding perfection is not the point of this journey. Learning how to love yourself, learning how to listen to yourself, learning how to find balance, learning how to keep pushing through even though it may not look the way you want it to look. Hello, hi, happy Monday. We're going to get Archangel Fire Oracle, and then we'll pull from the Mary Magdalene, and we'll be done for the day. Finding your personal power, embracing your personal power, accepting going back to the affirmation, the self-acceptance. Sometimes it's easier for us to accept other people's flaws than it is to accept our own. I don't know. I guess maybe it's because we think because it's us that we should know better or we should do better. But sometimes it's harder for us to understand ourselves than it is to understand other people, because we struggle for that accountability that we were talking about earlier. Believe you me, I know it's not easy. It hurts, it's hard, it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it can make you angry, make you sad. Look at that. We got the twins, number 35. I always think of Gemini when I see them. Notice how they're blindfolded in this card. They've got the gavel and the scales of justice. That's associated with Libra. Your job. A lot of what we've been picking up on today is embracing your creativity. Keep going. Embrace your personal power. You know, that could be very much applied to the workforce. You know, embracing your creativity may lead you to a job change in general. I know it did for me. Once I accepted myself for who I truly was and, you know, stopped trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be, I went in a completely different direction in my career path. We did get the power of prayer and release jealousy. So, you know, in your job, if you're jealous, if you're carrying the energy of jealousy because people have what you want, you know, that may be an indicator that you need to sit back and be honest with yourself about what you truly want, the direction that you truly want to go in. You know, going back to the abundance and the self-acceptance, remembering that abundance isn't always material. Sometimes it's worth it to let go of some of the physical abundance so that you can gain spiritual abundance. All right, we got number 35, the twins. Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. If you look up here on the scale, there's a heart and a feather. Is your heart as light as a feather? What are you putting your energy into? Is it weighing down? Is it weighing you down, or is it lightening your load? All right. The twin, the truth, is the general message. Let's see. The mighty Urim are a pair of great twin angels who are said to reside in the sixth heaven, together with another set of twin angels. They constitute the highest council of judgment in the heavenly courts. They are among 8 ultra-powerful angels, which have a rank that is superior even to that of mighty Metatron. According to the Bible, they are known as the Watchers. I've done videos about the Watchmen in the past. You're probably going to have to go back really far, but just that in itself is a very interesting topic to research. And as watchers, they are able to see the whole truth of every situation. In their oracle, they are shown as male and female philosophers or politicians from ancient Greece. They are wearing blindfolds as a nod to Lady Justice and the notion of blind justice. They see absolutely everything. So when they are around, we are rarely even able to hide from ourselves. What were we just talking about? That seems to be the theme of today. Sorry, they're weed eating outside. I'm pretty sure you can probably hear that. Okay. They open our eyes to that which we may have been previously blind to and show us where we have been blindsided, so they can help us achieve the gift of true discernment. Likewise, if ever you are in a situation where the truth seems to evade you, call on the twins to clearly show you the truth at the heart of the matter. Most empaths and sensitives are highly susceptible to seeing only the good in others. However, this can be disempowering when we later discover that another may have been acting in a way that was not entirely in integrity, or perhaps they were acting selfishly and didn't have the best intentions with regards to the impact of their actions on us. To me, the twins represent ultimate justice, balance, harmony, and order. Whenever they appear, they carry a set of... Oh my gosh, he scared the crap out of me. Copper, quit! That totally scared the crap out of me. Quit. Okay. They carry a set of silver and gold scales. They use these scales to help us recognize the duality or polarities within our lives and show us where more balance may be needed. They can also help to align our masculine and feminine energies, but mostly they also help us to delineate between right and wrong in order to keep ourselves accountable for our actions, or to stand up for those who may be wronging us, stand up to those who may be wronging us or taking advantage of our good nature in some way. The twins can help highlight any injustices and show you how to act as a peaceful but powerful mediator to help resolve issues from the highest possible vantage point. This powerful pair of angels are incredibly potent to pray to if you are ever involved in a legal situation or court case. You can ask them to raise the matter up to a higher level of justice in order for it to be reviewed by the heavenly courts. There are justice systems in every dimension and at every level of existence. So if you ever feel you are being unfairly tested or cannot see a way out of an entanglement, call on the twins to intervene on your behalf and bring the fastest and most harmonious and fair resolution to the situation. If you invite the twins into your life, they will bring you into swift alignment to your core truth and help you to find and awaken your most authentic self possible. Their general message: ask us to bring you clarity when the truth evades you. We can help you to discern the right choice when making an important decision or when you are unsure of the highest course of action to take. With our help, anything remaining hidden will soon come swiftly out into the light. So that very much touches on everything that we've already talked about. The self-acceptance, being honest with yourself, even if it hurts. Being willing to accept the truth, however harsh, is the gift of the twins. Being willing to look deeply inside your own mind and thought processes to uncover where you may have been hiding from the truth. Also, be willing to look at where you have perhaps been overlooking the reality of another's actions or intentions. Resolve to rebalance any discrepancies. So, being honest with yourself about yourself and being honest with yourself about the people that are around you. Accepting things the way they are. You know, as an empath, I can totally relate to seeing the good in people. Loving people for their potential instead of their position. You know, where are they positioned at now? Potential is all well and good, but if their lack of action or whatever actions they are having in your life, if it's causing a negative impact on your life, it may be time to reconsider your alliances. You know, reconsider who you're spending your time with. All right, now we're going to pull from the Mary Magdalene Oracle, and then we'll be done for the day. We're at 1:10:28 on the timer. Celebrating the little milestones. Celebrating, you know, what we've overcome. Celebrating that we've reached a point in our lives where, you know, we can be honest with ourselves about, you know, the decisions that we've already made in the past or decisions that need to be made currently. Releasing jealousy, remembering the power of prayer, remembering that abundance comes in all forms, not just material and financial. Self-acceptance, loving yourself enough to accept where you are, appreciate where you've come from, and seek inspiration on where you're going. The fifth power. I am a body and a soul. Card number 10. Forgetting. I think this is really going to put it all in a nutshell. This is what it means to be human. We forget we are not only this body. We are not only these fears and desires the ego conjures. We are also equally and entirely a soul. We are both, but we forget. And this is not a punishment. This is not due to some defect or weakness in what it means to be human. The fact that we forget again and again about the other half of who we are is always and in every circumstance and opportunity. Every time we remember, as in bring back together, the eternal half of who we are with the human aspect of our nature, we practice what it means to be a true human being. A true human being, according to the Gospel of Mary, is anyone who tries imperfectly but consistently to be both their human self and their soul. This, for me, is what Mary is describing in her Gospel when she says, quote, "In a world I was set loose from a world, and in a type from a type which is above, and from the chain of forgetfulness which exists in time," end quote, referencing Mary chapter 9, verse 28. In the midst of being entirely immersed in the fifth power, in forgetting, I bring some fragment of that other half of who I am, some shred of light into the depths. It might be a memory of what it feels like to fall in love at first sight. It might be a memory of a kiss that took my breath away. In a world of the soul, I was set loose from the world of the ego. This is how the chain of forgetfulness is broken. We remember. We remember what joy it is to be human. We remember the light that pierces through our most tragic moments. If we can have the strength to let it in. We remember that we are not just this heartbreak the ego endures. We are also a love that is stronger than death. We are also a soul of love that always seeks to love through us. the soul voice meditation. What helps me remember that I am also a soul? So remembering that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, that despite all the pain, despite all the things that we have to overcome, there is energy within us that reminds us that that's what we're meant to do. Overcoming the heartbreak, overcoming the uncomfortable energy, and remembering that the love that we seek in the outside world is always within us. And it's always surrounding us with our angels, ancestors, spirit guides, the Most High. Their love carries on within us and through us. That through this healing journey, it's not just to heal ourselves, but it's also helping others heal. And the best way to do that is through acts of love, acts of kindness. You know, going back to the self-acceptance, accepting that you are a body and a soul, that this journey is deeper than we could ever imagine. And really the key is to not give up. Failure is not an option. There's no such thing as failure. Not giving up and just pushing through each and every day. Very much going, like I said, it very much put it in a nutshell. Loving yourself despite your failures. Being able to share that love with others despite what you may view as failure. Because for me, and I've heard it for years, there's no such thing as failure. You got up, you tried, you learned what didn't work, so now you know not to do that next time. Whatever situation you're talking about, whether it's personal, whether it's work, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, don't take it personally. You're accepting yourself the way that you are and knowing that, okay, maybe I didn't accomplish what I set out to accomplish, but I know now that this doesn't work, so I'm going to learn something new. Seeking, finding inspiration in your flaws, finding inspiration through the mistakes, allowing yourself to grieve if you've lost something during that process, allowing ourselves to be angry through that process, because of course we get angry when things don't work out the way we want them to. And that can even lead into, a phase of grief where, we really just kind of have to heal from whatever that is that whatever we weren't able to accomplish, whether it's part of your healing journey or whether it has to do with your outside world. Appreciating the lessons that are learned. Expressing your feelings about what happened, and maybe using that as a sign to redirect your energy. I don't know why I'm getting burpy all of a sudden. I'm going to take that as a confirmation. Finding your personal power, finding that balance so that you can keep going. Try not to set your expectations too high. Going back to kind of what we talked about earlier, don't compare with the release jealousy. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Release confirmation. Release that jealousy. Remember the power of prayer and know that it's safe to receive. Whether that receiving is in this physical realm or whether it's in the spiritual realm. If all else fails, seek encouragement from others. Seek, where do you find inspiration? Maybe a career change is needed. You know, maybe a lifestyle change is needed. Maybe you just need a change of scenery. Or maybe, just maybe, the scales have been thrown out of balance. And it's up to us to find out how to rebalance them. And in my personal experience and in my personal opinion, love and kindness is the best way to do that. If we don't, and this goes back to the self-acceptance, if you don't love yourself, first of all, you're not going to be able to accept love from other people. Going back to our angel of abundance, it's safe for you to receive. Receiving isn't just about material things. That's about love and forgiveness and acceptance. And if you can't give those, if you don't have those within yourself, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to have the capacity to accept it from other people. Celebrate the little milestones that, you know, may not seem like a big deal, but you know, say that you've experienced a lifetime of abuse. Going back to the Namaste where it talks about the power of touch. You know, say you've experienced a lifetime of abuse where you don't associate physical touch with love. You associate it with pain. That is grief and anger trapped within yourself that it needs to be released before you can find the positive of physical touch. I hope that makes sense. All right. As always, be grateful for what you have. The big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. If you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. And as always, be blessed, find peace, and I'll see you next time.